Yeah, my name's BURRO Magic, aka Devin Myers. I'm from New Mexico, but kind of grew up playing music in Austin, Texas. Grew up playing drums, songwriter, messing around with pretty much all instruments. Been pretty much a musician since I was like 10 years old. I got my first acoustic guitar when I was like 8, and my father was a songwriter in Austin, Texas. His name is Max Myers. But I grew up playing drums for him and grew up being in my dad's band for a long time and rolling shotgun with him and coming up in the Austin scene. So on and on and on, making my own music, playing with my own bands and writing my own songs and all that good stuff. And then one day I was sitting in my house and I didn't have a band. I'd been in a band called Blood Diamonds for a while, and we disbanded, and I came back to Austin from California, and I found myself sitting in my studio and just didn't have a band at the moment. And a good friend of mine, Pterodactyl from Project Blowed, had showed me Reason, and I think it was Reason 4 or 5, and so I downloaded it and got it, and I started messing around with Reason, and so I fell in love with it because it was everything I'd ever learned in the real studios that I had been in, and it was just virtual, versions of everything. So I was just like, hey, I know how to work this. A lot of it made sense to me because I had used a lot of those units, but in real time. So I started making my own beats and started creating. Just basically what I was doing was creating drums, bass, and then playing guitar over it and like singing and stuff and rapping a little bit. And it was just kind of experimental. I was just trying to see if I could create stuff without a band, hip-hop wise, and all of a sudden, before I knew it, I had become a rapper. And I started doing hip-hop shows, and because of what I was creating was kind of in a hip-hop format because it was electronic music. And I got into rapping in around like 2000. When I was about 20, I started rapping more seriously. I started messing around at parties, and I would do it at like end of my shows, playing guitar, go into like a Cypress Hill verse or something, and people would go crazy. So it just made me want to do it more and more. And then I started writing my own stuff and started trying it out, see what I sounded like, recording my own hip hop and making my own beats and seeing what it sounded like. Before I knew it, I was creating kind of my own style and my own type of music, and I just kind of fell in love with it. Started working with people like Riddler and Pterodactyl in the studio a lot, making more and more beats and staying up for days making beats, which is a lot of fun when you're working with people that you can really identify with, or just on the same workflow, and you can just get a lot of stuff done, and it's a lot of fun. So that's a whole lot of fun when you knock out like 100 songs and like 100 beats in like 2 or 3 days, and you just have a whole new batch of music to work with and distribute. Kind of had a new passion and new love for being able to make all the music myself in the studio because I can play all instruments, so it was just a natural thing for me just to be. I wasn't ever trying to be a rapper or a beat maker. I was just a musician that just had some more toys to play with. Basically, that's how I looked at it. I like creating beats that are well kind of open and maybe take an artist in a different direction that he's not used to or she's not used to. Maybe bring something different out of the artist, not necessarily the same type of thing or the obvious, maybe something that might be weird. And sometimes, if you have one of my beats on your album, it might just be like that one song kind of stands out from the rest of them because the beat's a little different, but sometimes that's infectious and people want to go back and listen to that one song over and over again, and because it was the different song on the album, so that's what they sometimes are fiending to hear more of, something different. I love learning new things, new tricks, whether it be for shooting videos or making beats or playing instruments or whatever it may be. I love learning stuff. I try to learn as much as I can when I can, and take little things and learn new little tricks and add something to the arsenal every time. I'm definitely always learning and always creating, because the beat making world is cool like that, because it's just a never ending world. It's not like, I've played every kind of country lick ever known to man and that's all I can do. In the hip hop, in the beat making world, it's just like there's a never ending world. It never ends. It just keeps multiplying and dividing itself. And so that's the mystery in beat making, is never knowing what's going to happen. And that's really fun for a lot of us people that got into making beats, is not knowing what's going to happen and jumping into something and just sometimes just turning knobs and seeing what might happen with it. It's a sacrifice too, the hours I've spent in my studio making beats and being away from your family and friends and life and sunlight and everything else in this world it's a huge sacrifice. I give my hats off to all the beat makers out there that do this, because it takes up so much of your time and it's such a dedication, and especially to be good at it. There's a lot of people out there that just grab loops and just loop stuff that's already made and that's ready. That's cool. You can just do that all day long and create your own little version of your loops that you create, and I got respect for that too. But for the people out there that are really getting really inventive with it and really creating stuff, spending those crazy hours in the studios away from everybody and everything in their life, it's a sacrifice. People don't really know that. Pay respect to that. I wish people would put the beatmaker song, the name on the songs a lot more, to show respect for the people, because when you're listening to an album, you're listening to music, and the person that made all the music on that album might not have their name on that album or on the front cover or a picture of them, or who knows who they are, unless they're actually famous. So I think just more recognition for the people creating the music that you're nodding your head to, or that you're getting you through your day or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because a person wouldn't be able to rap lyrics on anything if there wasn't music there, you know what I'm saying? Or sing a melody if there wasn't that music there. So give your hats off, man, to the music producers out there and the beat makers out there of the world, because they're the ones that are keeping your booty shaking and your head bobbing and getting you through that day or slowing that day down for you. So, number one songs on the charts, whether it be country, pop, hip hop, rock, most of them have programmed drums, programmed music in it, So it's a majority of the number one hit songs, if you think about it. It goes a lot deeper in bigger worlds than you realize. Commercials, movies is a huge world where a lot of these beats, as we call them, are available. What do you want to call them? Instrumentals, beats, just music, electronic music, whatever. Because I create kind of both. I'm bringing acoustic guitars and percussion instruments and real things into my electronic music. So I try to keep it organic and electric, as much as I can. A lot of my influences in beat making is probably, the obvious, Doom, Dilla, Alchemist, Pharrell, RZA, No Limit beats growing up, they were always cranking. And then my homies Riddler and Pterodactyl really pushed me, or just had somebody really to work with and hang out with on a daily basis to make music with, and that really helps you get to that next level when you really have some people into it as much as you are. Oh No, Fat Jack, I'm sure I'm forgetting some people that really influenced me in the hip hop world. as either a rapper or as a beat maker or whatever I got into. So, but first and foremost, I'm definitely a musician, and that's just how I got into beat making. It just was another fun toy to use. Check out my music sometime. BURRO Magic is my hip hop name. You can listen to my beats under the same name. I have many other hats I wear, many other instruments I play, and other projects I'm part of. Austin, Texas has been one of my home bases for music for over 20 years, and I'm originally from New Mexico, Taos, New Mexico, and spent a lot of time in California, and Southwest is kind of my home, and that's kind of where I create my energy and my grit from, is that Southwest vibe. And yeah, check it out. I hope to be working with more and more people soon. Peace.